In the wake of the 2020 presidential election,
Democrats are trying to manipulate the election.
I relied on others, including lawyers with many more years of experience than I, to provide me with true and reliable information.
You can get a bunch of lawyers to say anything, and they don't actually know what justice requires.
What I did not do, but should have done, Your Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true.
This was a statement of fact that was ran as true, and when in fact it was knowingly false.
I failed to do my due diligence.
And they never reached out to the campaign to verify.
In the frenetic pace of attempting to raise challenges,
we've done this on a very short time frame, and I'm very proud of all of the efforts of the Trump legal team.
If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump.
Trump could literally cure cancer, and the Democrats would find something wrong with it.
I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse.
Of course they knew, and they ran with these false statements anyway.
I have taken responsibility already before the Colorado bar who censured me.
She should be disbarred over this.
And I now take responsibility before this court and apologize to the people of Georgia.
Ultimately, our system of government will triumph because we have a wonderful Constitution that is in place to protect that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Fan Advocacy Network once again. Unfortunately, what you just witnessed was the duplicitous nature of cowards and grifters. People who say one thing and do another. But that's not why we're here. Politics is full of people like Jenna Ellis, who are not to be trusted, who are duplicitous, who are perfectly able to go out there and defend Donald Trump and make a position, and then to do that for the sake of their own comfort and their own finances. You saw the juxtaposition. It's jarring, I know, because this is how these cowards work. But I'm not just here to rail on this woman for her absolutely indefensible surrender. No. What I want to talk about is the fact that this woman took money from hardworking Americans for her legal defense. And this wasn't a woman who was going out saying, I'm going to do my best, I'm going to lay low. No, her mugshot was of her smiling. You may not remember that, but that was 2 months ago. She went and smiled for her mugshot and came out and said, I'm going to be defiant, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight. And people gave her money because she was going to fight the good fight. And what did she do? You saw. She caved in. She apologized. She betrayed Trump, threw him under the bus. Now, I don't know what the legal ramifications of that are. If you gave her money, I would try to sue her. I don't know what you can get back, if anything. But if she has an ounce of conscience, which she doesn't, she will give back every fucking cent that she stole from people who gave her money, not because it's her, not because, I'm Jenna Ellis. No, they gave you money, you stupid, ridiculous, grifting bimbo, because you said that you were going to fight the good fight. And people, whether they're Trump supporters or not, said, this is unjust, this is unfair, these prosecutions are not legitimate, so we want people who say they're going to fight to have the money to go about being able to do battle. Having a war chest to be able to fight back. That's why people invested. That's why people gave her money. And she stabbed every one of them in the back and then goes on social media and pretends like nothing happened. Pretends like everything's fine. She's on social media today talking about, oh, I'm so glad the new Republican Speaker of the House. Ladies and gentlemen, understand, Donald Trump has done so much good for this country, it's unbelievable. He has exposed the corruption. He has exposed the grifters, the uniparty. He has exposed the swamp. He did drain a lot of the swamp, but the swamp was deep, and we're starting to see the gnarly creatures that live down there. And it's disgusting. And they're used to the muck. And people like Jenna Ellis, you have to be wary of grifters. You have to be wary of people like her. Because they come along and they say things that sound good. But this woman folded like it was nothing. She betrayed Donald Trump like it was nothing. Teary-eyed, apologizing to the court. We know that entire proceeding was a sham, and now she can be brought back to testify against Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone defending this woman and what she did, I have nothing but contempt for you. I find you to be repulsive. And in that venue, we have Andrew Klavan. Now, if you don't know who Andrew Klavan is, you can be forgiven. He is the barnacle that is on the whale that is the Daily Wire. He's somebody that some people know. He's a relative unknown. Doesn't really move the needle at all. Kind of like a backbencher, a mouthpiece. He'll regurgitate some idea and be right on, 80% of it. But yeah, that's who he is. He's a rhino Republican, so-called conservative. And here's what he had to say. Here's why we're talking about this loser. I'll discuss my friend Jenna Ellis on Friday's show. But let me say now, I'm charmed by those who imagine themselves as heroic martyrs in Jenna's situation, as I'm charmed when I see little boys wearing blankies as capes and pretending to beat the bad guys. So essentially, he's defending Jenna Ellis, and he's mocking the people that are calling her out. I cannot think of a more immoral, unhinged statement. This woman stole money from people. She stole money under a false pretense. I don't know what else you call that. If I sold Andrew Klavan a product, I listed out all the things that it does. Here's what I'm going to deliver to you. And then I deliver him a piece of shit. Just take a giant steaming dump in a box and send it to him. Do you think he's going to be like, well, I'm charmed? No, he's going to be furious. He's going to demand his money back. He's going to want to know, probably, why did you shit in the box and send it to me? Well, that's what we want to know. We want to know why this woman, who claimed to be a strong and independent, fierce, legal fighter for Donald Trump, why she turned her back on Trump, joined the DeSantis campaign, which seems to be the ruination of everyone's career when they touch DeSantis. And why did she go back on her word? These are legitimate questions. You don't have to be a superhero running around in a cape to realize that your word actually does mean something. And if this bald-headed fuck is saying that your word doesn't mean anything, I think that says a lot about him. And I think this tweet damaged his reputation far more than the media ever could in 20 years. They could run smear pieces from now until the end of time. They would not do as much damage to his reputation as Andrew Klavan has in this one tweet. It is inexcusable what he's saying here. He is saying that it is perfectly okay what she did. That's what this is. He's not saying it in so many words, but you notice that the entire thing is on, hey, my friend Jenna Ellis, she's going to be on the show, but let me say, all of you who were giving her a hard time, who were saying, I wouldn't have backed down. I would have stood by my word that my comfort and my money is less important than this republic and doing the right thing and standing by your principles. You guys are like kids. You're like a joke. Little kids and your silly concepts of trustworthiness and honesty. I mean, this guy basically revealed all of his cards, and that's the beauty of Trump. Trump has forced these ridiculous clowns to show us who they really are. And that is the greatest gift that we could ask for. This guy basically says, I don't care that she stole money from you. I don't care that she scammed you out of your hard-earned cash. I don't care. She's my friend. She's part of my club. We're the pro-DeSantis people. I don't care what she did. You people are just losers. This is what the left does. This is what the leftist media does. And it's why I'm not a goddamn Republican. Because I find these people to be pathetic. Now, it's true that somebody like Andrew Klavan doesn't have the reachings and therefore can't be as dangerous as some of these people on mainstream media with their lies and propaganda. But this is actively running defense for a woman that defrauded people. That should be a goddamn crime. You raise a GoFundMe on a premise that you're going to fight, and in the end, you don't. Do you think that the majority of the funds to her GoFundMe for her legal defense, and she raised over $200,000, do you think that that was because, I really like Jenna Ellis. I really like her. That's why I'm donating. Or, I like what she's standing for. I like this fight. This seems like it would be a worthwhile investment of my money. I think it's far more likely that people wanted to help her because they felt that this was unjust and that if she fought against the system, that it would help Trump and it would help Republicans, conservatism, libertarianism, independence, would help people from this runaway, out of control system. So no, Andrew Klavan, this wasn't just some child's game. People are legitimately upset, and rightfully so. They have every right to be. They have every right to be upset because what Jenna Ellis did was absolutely wrong. What she did was wrong. And I'm not saying that it would be wrong if she defended Trump, remained quiet the whole time, was charged with this, went in, took her picture, was relatively quiet, and then, made her statement and then came out. I don't think that people would have as much of a problem. You look at Sidney Powell. People were like, oh, well, that's really terrible what she did. But she didn't get anywhere near the pushback because it was Jenna Ellis who smiled for her mugshot. It was Jenna Ellis who went out of her way to make it a point that I'm a fighter. Give me money. She was right out there with her mugshot and a link to a legal fund. She was right out there. So my point here is that if you are not going to stand by your word, then what the hell are you doing? And if you can't handle criticism, then get out the game. This picture right here, you see her smiling? That's her mugshot. You heard me correctly. That is her mugshot. She was more than happy to smile and say, I'm going to fight. But now she's teary-eyed and, it's so terrible. Poor me. Throws Trump under the bus. What an unbelievable betrayal. And it's not as though she has any real loyalty to Trump. She doesn't have to be. But when you promise something, it goes to your heart and soul of who you are. When you give somebody your word and say, if you give me this money, I am going... It really is unbelievable. This woman was more than happy to exploit people, to take their money, ripping them off. And Andrew Klavan doesn't seem to think there's an issue. That tells me there's an issue here. There's an issue with all of these people. And they need to be exposed and humiliated. Now, I will say this. I don't believe in doxing or harassment. At least not traditional harassment, like going to somebody's house in the middle of the night. But this woman should not be able to have a social media presence without her being bombarded with this on her comments. I'm not talking about nasty, vulgar things. But every time she posts, there should be 50 or 100 people reminding her of this situation constantly, forever. She should never be able to live this down. She should have to face the ramifications of stealing that money from those people. It should follow her for the rest of her life, because she stole that money from hardworking Americans and thought, hey, I'm going to lie to them. I can take from them. And the people like Andrew Klavan and the people, the Daily Wire, who ran cover for her and are going to continue to run cover for her, and the DeSantis people that are going to run cover for her, you are genuinely evil. You are some of the worst sort of scum that I've ever seen. It is unconscionable that you can claim to be conservatives on the quote-unquote right side of the issue and defend that type of grifting, extortionist, damn near should be criminal behavior. The fact that you can continue to support somebody like that, to me, that is sinister. That person does not deserve a second chance. She doesn't deserve to be able to go and resume her career or her online reputation, or to resume her show as though nothing happens. People should make this woman's online reputation about as bad as it can get, because we're not just talking about somebody who made a political change. We're talking about a woman who extorted money from hardworking Americans. She stole money from people. She said, I'm going to fight. Donate to my legal defense. Give me money so that I can fight this in court. So that I can take this all the way. She didn't say it in that many words. But you understand, the whole point of the mugshot, the smile, it was to be reflective of defiance and that you're going to fight. She sold people on a bill of goods and then stabbed them in the back, and is never going to give them back their money, which she absolutely should. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.